Welcome to episode 153 of the Hurricane Mike Show, where we will be previewing Sunday's matchup between the New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But before we get started, man, we gotta talk about this though. Atlanta, man. Do you not know who the starting quarterback is going to be today?
His name starts with a K.
Man, Kirko Chains, boy. That dude finna suck today. Cause why, Dad?
Because Atlanta Falcons suck a little bit, son. And I thought I didn't even realize he was still on the team. I thought he went somewhere with his bag. But evidently he's still on the Atlanta Falcons team.
Yeah, I mean, y'all paid him $40 million. Y'all gotta get every penny's worth. Man, they paid him more money than we paid Derek Carr. But anyways, let's get started. But before we get started, I want to talk. I'm sure y'all probably see the shirt I'm wearing. But to any,
LSU.
I want to say this to any Brian Kelly supporter out there. You can kick a bag of rocks if you were trying to sell me Brian Kelly being the future head coach of this football team. Because what I saw last night was him not knowing what he was doing. Brian Kelly lost control of Joe Sloan because I don't know if you saw, but there was a time where Joe Sloan and Brian Kelly were freaking arguing at each other through the mic. This dude always wants to throw a headset every time he makes a mistake. And this dude always, do you not know what an offensive line is? Why are you not recruiting any offensive linemen, buddy? And the ones that you are recruiting are terrible. So what do you feel about the LSU Tigers and Brian's stupid Kelly?
I feel that it's just not a very good football team. I mean, we've seen signs of this all year long. I mean, the signs that, have signs that just blanking at you, like the close win against Florida. And it looked like that was a great win or whatever. But Florida turned out to be, a trash team. And the close win against Clemson turned out to be a trash team. So all year long, they've struggled. And, Brian Kelly has some blame in that. But the players aren't very good. Whether they were recruited here to be good. I mean, there was supposed to be some good players, but for whatever reason, they haven't, gelled together and played good football.
My thing is, right, the last three head coaches to coach the LSU program, they got at least one national championship in their first 4 seasons. This is year number 4 for Brian Kelly. He's not going to make the playoffs this year. He's not going to win the championship. He might not even be ranked at the end of the year. Because LSU did the same thing last year. Where I don't know if you remember, but LSU started off extremely hot. People thought they could go far. They beat Ole Miss on the road. I think. Yeah, they beat Ole Miss on the road in overtime. And I even looked at that win, and I'm like, that was not – like, you beat a very good team in a very good way, but throughout most of that game, you were not the better team. And it showed because LSU did not take a single lead to the last play of the game.
All right. The standard that you're setting, how you say it, like the last 3 coaches won the national championship, that is an unbelievable feat. In fact, I'm thinking to myself, how many other college programs can even say that? And I think the answer is 0. I think even the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Michigans, has that ever even happened before? I don't think so. Now, Brian Kelly always, even though we look at him as sucking the last few years, I mean, he still wins, 10 ball games a year. He won't this year, his first year. But, I mean, you talk about
Second
the
year.
last 3 coaches. Why don't you go back to the 4th coach where we were winning, 4 games a year? So it could be bad. It could be worse. So if you're going to get rid of Brian Kelly, who are you going to bring in here that's going to do better than 10 wins and, win a national championship? Is that guy out there?
Steve Sarkisian?
Steve Sarkisian. I mean, what has he done in his career?
He led Texas to the round right before the national championship.
Hey,
I know that.
Steve Sarkisian, is he still coaching Texas?
Yeah.
Don't they suck this year? I mean, bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't
I'm
suck
just saying.
bad. I mean, they don't suck bad, but yeah, I mean, they're not doing well. But hey, I mean, you can't do like I would rather pull the plug now before it's too late, before you're on life support. Because Brian Kelly, and the thing is, he acts like he cares after the game, but on the field he does not care. A caring coach would have not lost by 30 points last night.
Texas and Steve Sarkisian was ranked number 1, if I believe, before the season started, and they almost played themselves. Well, they did for a week. They played themselves out of the top 25. That is all coaching, in my opinion.
And LSU was ranked third, and they just played their way out of the top 25.
Well, I mean, they both suck, so you wouldn't, trade a suck coach for another suck coach. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, at least one suck coach can say, "Hey, at least we made it close to the national championship." Brian, we have yet to make the playoffs under Brian Kelly.
Well, so is 99% of the other coaches.
That are we the Kentucky Wildcats or are we the LSU Tigers? You see, if Kentucky was in LSU's position, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we love Brian Kelly, man. We have never seen success like this in years." But if LSU was in Kentucky's position, we'd be like, "Man, come on, we suck."
I mean, that's making my point. Just like Frank Beamer last night, they was talking about how much he's beloved by the fan base or whatever. And then I look down at his record; he's 3-4. If we were 3-4, we'd been had a new coach. So it depends on where you at. Yes, LSU has some high standards.
Yeah, but like the thing, like, and look, I'm not saying Brian Kelly's like a bad coach. That's not what I'm saying. But for coaching the LSU program, he's not it, man. He's not it, personally. Like, Coach O, Nick Saban, and the coach before him all won titles for LSU. So we need, like, I don't want James Franklin. I don't really want Billy Napier. I mean, Billy Napier, I guess, wouldn't be. I mean, I don't know. He's been.
No, keep Billy Napier away from me. Far away from me. He doesn't know what's going on. He sits there and answers the question like, "Oh, I don't know." I like Brian Kelly's emotion. He'll grab you, tell you to go get F or whatever. I kind of like that. Actually, being old school like that.
Look, I like his post game rant, but when all you are known for as a head coach is your post game locker room speeches and nothing on the field, I don't like. Why are you going? Well, why are you punting the ball on 4th and 2, down by 10 points in the third quarter? I don't care where you're at on the field. You need to win that game.
Actually, I don't like his post game press conference yesterday because it sounded like he was like trying to save his job. Like, oh, I need to do better. It was the coaches for the players. They don't deserve. They played the best they could. I said no. I didn't do a good job, but these players were shit yesterday too. I mean, let's be real. Okay.
Like Garrett Nussmeier too.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Garrett Nussmeier too. I remember when a lot of people thought he was going to go number 1 in the draft. Is that who you want? Like, did he have a bad game? I guess statistically, no. But if you watch that game, he couldn't read the defense if his grandma's, aunties, uncles, nieces, nephews' life was on the line.
Well, these game plans and these play calling, it's not helping them. I mean, it's 3rd and 10 and you're throwing 2-yard passes. I mean, Brian Kelly doesn't call offensive plays. He doesn't call defensive plays. So we have to look at those coaches as well. I mean, what are y'all doing as a coaching staff during the week?
Don't get me wrong. I blame Joe Sloan as well. In fact, I actually want Joe Sloan to go with Kelly. And Blake Baker, I used to think of him as a high defensive coordinator. Not no more. I don't know what happened to his defense. What, you lost Wade Weeks and your defense forgot how to play? One guy should not stop you from getting 40 points dropped on you. To be honest,
50.
To be honest, they probably should have scored 60. To be honest with you, because the interception AJ Halsey had was at the goal line, and at the end of the first half, when LSU got another interception, if that ball does not get tipped, the guy is wide open down the sideline. And there was another play where Marcel Reed was running, and the guy was wide open. But he chose to run instead. So if he threw that ball, we probably could have lost. We probably could have gave up 70. Like LSU, like what is going on? Whatever. Let's get into why we're really here. We just spent 10 minutes rambling on that. All right. Saints Buccaneers now. Let's get here while we're really here. So today at 3:05 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go to the Dome against the New Orleans Saints. And last week, you know what? Not never mind. Baker Mayfield last week, 228 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a 66.1 rate, and he's gotten a 130 plus rate in his previous 2 games. So what are the Saints going to do to Baker to make sure that the Saints come out on top today?
The Saints are going to have to create some turnovers. I mean, we can't play a turnover-free game today. I mean, we can't have these guys march up and down the field on us. No, we're going to have to – the ball's going to have to bounce our way. We're going to have to get some good calls. So I hope y'all paid off those referees. You know how they doing these days. No cheating. I don't endorse cheating. Anyway, so yes, we're going to have to turn Baker Suckerfield over. We're gonna have to rush him. We're gonna have to strip sack him. We're gonna have to play man to man and start picking off these balls. If we get 2 turnovers, I think we can win this game.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes more than the defense, but yeah, we'll get to that in a later point. I think Baker Mayfield, you just gotta I think what you said, you gotta create turnovers, man. Like we've seen every Saints game. And every Saints game, you know what they lack at doing? Turnovers. And when they do get turnovers, they're pretty successful with them. Like against the Giants, they forced 5 turnovers. You won that game. But then against the 49ers, you only got 1 turnover. And you didn't win. So, you got to force at least 2 or 3 turnovers today if you want to win, man. It's like the Saints, right? They've, had 3 games with the lead this season. So we need to also, take momentum. And turnovers create that. Now, the Buccaneers offense as a whole last week scored 9 points. They were 4 for 16 on third down, and they were 0 for 1 in the red zone. And the Buccaneers, however, they scored 25 plus points in their previous 4 games. And also last week, they gave up 4 sacks on 50 pass attempts. However, in their previous 4 games, they only gave up 0 to 2 sacks. So what is the defense going to have to do to that offensive line in Tampa Bay?
Gonna have to get sacks. Gonna have to win their one-on-one matchups without blitzing because Baker Mayfield. He's coming off of a pretty rough game, but for the most part this season he's been eating some defenses up. I mean, even though he doesn't have his Mike Evans, but he's still capable of carving you up if you blitz and you don't get there.
Yeah, the defensive line. Look, Chase Young, he had a solid game last week in Chicago, but and for those people that say sacks don't matter, I understand. But Chicago got some key sacks last week, some massive sacks on third downs. They got some big sacks last week. So yeah, sacks do matter. So you got to get them. Now, the Saints defense, week 7, gave up 26 points. The Bears were 3 for 12 on third down and 2 for 6 in the red zone, the Bears against the Saints defense. And in 2025, the Saints have given up 26.6 points per game, which is 27th in the NFL. The Saints' run defense last week ran on 40 times for 222 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. This season, they've given up 4.2 yards per carry, which is 17th in the NFL. And then versus Caleb Williams, he was 172 yards and an interception. And in 2025, they've given up a 104.7 rate, which is 27th in the NFL. So knowing all of that, what is the defense going to have to fix if they're going to handle probably a better offense than what Chicago has, even without Mike Evans?
Going to have to fix some of these busted coverages in the secondary, boy. The secondary has probably been the most disappointing thing of the Saints season so far. So even though they're without their superstar wide receiver Mike Evans, still no busted coverages today. Everybody do their job, and we'll see who's the better team at the end, my boy.
Yeah, well, even if the Saints win, I think we can all agree that the Bucks are still a better team. But yeah, you never know.
Not
Look,
today.
I'm just being honest, bro. I mean, we've seen countless times in the past where a better team loses to a trash team. Like in 2007, I'm pretty sure everybody thought the Patriots, and I think everybody still thinks that the 2007 Patriots were better than the 2007 Giants. However, the Giants, what did they do? They beat the Patriots. So I'm just saying. But yeah, um, yeah. Look, the Saints. I mean, I wouldn't really call their secondary a disappointment. I would say the secondary is just not good. All right. Because, like, we knew before the season the secondary probably wasn't going to be good. We got a lot of young guys over there trying to still develop. And we kind of knew this year was just going to be a developmental year anyway. But, I mean, they didn't have a bad game in the secondary, like, really last week. The only thing that really sucked was the busted coverages, like you mentioned. Like there's a lot of plays where you would get a third down stop, but then you commit a penalty. You got to be disciplined. There would be lots of times where like the defensive line is getting no pressure, which gives the receivers times to make a play. Like the defensive line has to step up. The linebackers, there's been countless times where the linebackers just get beat over the middle. We got to fix that. We have to play an all-around perfect game defensively. Now let's talk about the Buccaneers' first-round pick in this past draft, Emeka Egbuka, in Week 7. I remember when a lot of people thought Emeka, like they didn't understand that pick, but me, even as a Saints fan, I was like, I love that pick for Tampa Bay. I don't love it as a Saints fan, but if I was a Buccaneers fan, I would love that pick. Emeka Egbuka, and thankfully I'm not a Bucs fan, but Emeka Egbuka last week got 12 targets, 4 receptions for 58 yards. Tez Johnson a week ago, 9 targets, 4 receptions for 58 yards and a touchdown, and then scored a touchdown in back-to-back games. And Cade Otton, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 65 yards. So now what matchups are you trying to see go up against these receivers, aka tight end? Tampa Bay.
Well, they've shown that even without Mike Evans, they still are capable. They still have some targets. Even Amike Abuke, however you say his name,
Emeka Egbuka.
Abuka.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to play our sound defense and hope they got a good game plan of how to attack them. And if I knew how to attack them and to shut them down, I'd be coaching in the NFL. My boy, I'd be coaching.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Ibuka and what's made him so special is that he's come up in the clutch situations. So if the Saints are up by 5 points, or even if they're down by 5 points, if the game is a one-score game, no matter at what point in the game, you have, I mean this loosely, you have to play tight coverage on them. Not tight enough where it's going to draw a flag every time, but tight coverage to where it's like the receiver can't even see what's going on outside of him. Like that type of coverage. Like if I would have to imagine, I would say I would probably put Kool-Aid on Igbuka. I would put Riley on Johnson and Kate I, and he's just going to be guarded by the linebackers, which I think is fine. So yeah, and we'll see what happens with that. Now the offense of the Saints last week scored 14 points. We were 3 for 10 on third downs, and we only had 1 red zone trip. And in 2025, we've scored 16.9 points per game, which is 29th in the NFL. Spencer Rattler last week, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions with a 66.3 rate. And this season, he's had 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and an 88.4 rate. So, and he's going up against the Buccaneers pass defense, which a week ago versus Jared Goff gave up 241 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, and also a Buccaneers defense that has a 98.2 rate, which is 21st in the NFL. So, what is Spencer Rattler going to have to do for the Saints to be 2-6 after today?
Spencer Rattler's going to have one of those games where he don't turn the ball over, which he's had many games like that this year, and we've still lost, but you can't contribute to the losses. I mean, you still got to play your game and do what you're capable of and spread the ball around. Get the tight ends involved because, I see we got some healthy tight ends now. The Hill, the Moreau, the sticky hands, Johnson. So get the tight ends involved. Hope they don't drop passes and get first downs and move this ball and score more than 14 points. So we got to put up a big number today.
Yeah, and you know what the Saints offense is gonna have to do when you get into the red zone, okay? And look, I understand it's a little complicated. I understand, this might not be. I know this might not be legal. I think it might be illegal actually. But when you get in the red zone, okay, and hear me out, this might be a little crazy, but when you get into the red zone, how about you score some touchdowns, okay? It might not be allowed, but how about you score some touchdowns in the freaking red zone? Cause I'm tired of going to the red zone just having Blake Groupie shank a kick. Man got one job, bro. This man's missed a field goal almost every game. Bro. But not in the preseason, he's one of the best kickers. But not,
He's in the preseason Hall of Fame.
yeah, bro. He's in the preseason Ring of Honor, bro. I'm pretty sure they retired his jersey in the preseason.
He was making people go cry in the middle of the street in the preseason, like, oh,
Exactly.
groupie, man, kicking all over me.
Exactly, man. But yeah, now the Buccaneers defense last week gave up 24 points. The Lions were 3 for 13 on third downs and had 2 red zone trips. And in 2025, they've given up 25 points per game, which is 22nd in the NFL. The Buccaneers pass rush last week got 4 sacks on 29 pass attempts. And in 2025, they got 20 sacks, which is 6th in the league. And the Saints offense last week had 32 pass attempts and took 4 sacks, which was a season high in sacks taken. So what is that offensive line going to have to bring to the table to make sure Spencer Rattler still has a pulse after today?
I got 2 words for you. In fact, this is my main thing today. These 2 words. Luke Fortner. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Good, because I don't. But he will be starting at center today for the New Orleans Saints, snapping the ball and calling the signals for the offensive line. Other than that, our starting offensive line is in place. But, Eric McCoy went out on injured reserve. And, we got 3 offensive linemen out in injured reserve. We got Eric McCoy, Nick Salvaretta, however you say his name, and Landon Young. Those are the guys we were counting on for depth. And now we got somebody named Luke Fortner starting. I hope he's good. I hope he's got a nice family and then everything's taken care of at home. But play some football today.
Yeah.
Come on, Luke. Yeah, so our offensive line gonna have to be solid. Luke gonna have to be on his game, and the rest of the starters gonna have to help him out. And we got to get some good push. We got to run the ball today.
Yeah, Luke Fortner, I remember we traded Colin Saunders for him in the preseason. So, Luke Fortner, I will say in the preseason games he did play. I think he played, one preseason game for us. But even in that Jacksonville game when the Saints played against Jacksonville in the preseason, Fortner had a solid game. He did. That was preseason. I mean, hey, even Blake Groupie had a solid game in preseason. You saw what happened to him. But yeah, look, the offensive line is just going to have to play their part, man. Like, the Buccaneers got Vita Vea. I don't know if Cansey's back from injury. I don't know if that's a thing. But the offensive line is going to have to play attached. Okay? Intact, man. Like, that's the only way we're going to win. Like, if we give up 4 or 5 sacks, we lost that game already. Okay? Cizuiz, Fuaga, Banks, Penning, and Fortner. Y'all 5 got to come out, and I don't care if y'all got to throw them to freaking outer space. You do whatever you can that does not result in the flag. That means that you don't let Rattler get sacked. But anyways. All right. Now, the Buccaneers defense last week versus Jahmyr Gibbs gave up 2 touchdowns and 136 rushing yards. So, we obviously got Alvin Kamara, who didn't have the best game last week, but the Buccaneers run defense, it looks like, is pretty freaking trash. So how can the Saints win a game? Because we don't have Kendrick Miller no more, but we do got the new guy, Aldrick Estime, who is a pretty solid running back in my opinion. I actually wanted the Saints to draft him. So we got Aldrick Estime. He's new to the team. And we still got Kamara, and we still got Devin Neal. So how's the running game going to have to be if the Saints are going to pull out the win? The upset pick of the year.
Well, we're very thin at the running back. Like you said, Estime is coming in here. But other than that, we have Alvin Kamara and Devin Neal, the rookie. And other than that, I don't think we have a running back on this roster, do we?
Devin Neal, Kamara, Estime. I mean, I think, well,
I'm looking at the depth chart, and sometimes they don't put, some people on the depth chart. But I'm looking at those three guys. So forget everybody else, even if they're all in there. These are the three guys that are going to get some action. Alvin Kamara, he's got in my mind, he's had a down year this year. He has not had one of those breakout performances. So I'm looking for that from Alvin Kamara today. He usually plays well against the Buccaneers. So let's see if he can get some of that magic back today and see if Neal gets a little extra playing time and see what he can do running inside the tackle. That's what I'm looking for from him. And estimate, he might get 2 or 3 snaps today.
Maybe. I actually won't be surprised if he's inactive today because usually the new guys are usually inactive the first game. But if he does play, then cool.
But then we're going into a game with only 2 running backs, and that's never good. I mean, I guess Taysom Hill can be a running back, so maybe that's 3.
I guess Kellen Moore could maybe even be a running back. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or maybe we'll pull a fan out of the stadium or something because it can't be worse than this, bro.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah. Chris Olave last week, 7 targets for 5 receptions, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. The first ever multi-touchdown game of Olave's career. But yeah, he's supposed to be number 1 receiver though, right? Okay, bet. Chris Olave, 98 yards, back-to-back games though. I will give him that. Juwan Johnson last week, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 79 yards. You might think, oh, that's not a bad game. Should have had 6 receptions, but this man's got more butterfingers than a candy factory. If you don't get the joke, butterfingers and candy, you know what I'm saying. But yeah,
we got it.
Okay. Juwan Johnson, 15 for 51 yards, 5 of 7 games. That's not good, okay? I mean, is it bad? No. But the fact that there was 2 games this season where you got less than 15 yards? Well, I guess 1 game, and that game was against the Patriots, because I guess 79 yards counts as more than 51. But so you had you still had 1 game, bro, against the Patriots where you were fumbling the ball all over the place the only time you do catch the ball. Like Juwan Johnson, we paid this man $30 million to be a decent tight end. Bro, that's like saying if you were to pay George Kittle like $5 million to be one of the best tight ends in football. It doesn't work like that. Like what? You like Juwan Johnson's wife so much that you paid him that much money? Because clearly you don't like Juwan Johnson. Or at least I hope you don't. But yeah, Rashid Shaheed last week, 9 targets, 4 receptions for 40 yards. He has gotten 28 to 52 yards, 6 of 7 games. So how do you think these receivers are going to have to come together if we're going to get past Tampa Bay?
We're going to have to find a way to get Brandon Cooks more than 1 catch in this game. Or 1 target, or whatever it's been. He only gets like 1 or 2 targets a game. I mean, we didn't bring him here for that. We brought him here to spread the ball out a little bit and for him to be one of the main guys to get the ball. But that hasn't happened yet. And Rashid Shaheed showed some flashes the last couple of weeks, but he's still not that consistent deep threat that he's been for us in the past few years. So still looking for that. And Chris Olave has been coming on. I mean, we haven't been saying too many bad things about him lately. Let's see if he can, keep that streak going. And I don't know if he's just playing for a new contract or a new team or whatever it is. Just keep it up, son. Keep it up.
All right, JT in the chat saying blessings, Hurricane Mike and BS. Yeah, blessings to you, JT. Namaste. Yep. Anyways, yeah. Look, the receivers, they just got to do their part, man. Like Shaheed, he's been having a solid year, but Kellen Moore, you got to remember, Shaheed is the fastest dude in the league. So I better see this man better be running deep routes every single. I don't even care if they're running the ball. I don't care if Kellen Moore's like, okay, we're going to do a handoff up the middle. I still better see Shaheed down the field near the end zone. Like, I don't want this man blocking. I don't want this man doing nothing else. I want this man running deep every time until Tampa Bay puts a 2 high safety over there. And if that don't happen, run deep. If Tampa Bay has 2 high safeties, then okay, he can do something else. But if it's a 1-on-1 coverage or if there's only 1 safety towards the middle of the field, let that man run that ball. But yeah. Anyways, now let's take you back in history for the Saints Buccaneers. As sometimes I like to do an NFL vault type of thing. In this case, it's not the best one, but it's probably one of the most memorable games that I guess a lot of people like. It's not that memorable, but a lot of people might, if if you're old, if you're older, I should say. Um, so do you know the Buccaneers' first ever win? You know who that came against?
A team that plays down south.
Yeah, against the Saints. After 26 straight L's. In 1977, the Buccaneers beat the Saints 33-14 after 26 straight losses, bro.
That's the year I was born.
Oh, that's nice. But yeah, so yeah, like the Buccaneers. And fun fact, the Buccaneers have the longest losing streak in NFL history. So yeah, 26 straight losses, and then the one win came against the Saints. Anyways, however, good news for Saints fans, even if Tampa Bay does win this game, the Saints still lead the season series 40-27. So Buccaneers got a lot of catching up to do. So, Dad, what is your prediction for today's game before we get into these experts?
My prediction is my Saints, your Saints, our Saints, JT Saints. I don't know if you're a Saints fan or not, but Saints gonna win. And I forgot what score I picked Friday, but I'm gonna go ahead and say 23-16.
23-16 Saints. All right, I got the Saints winning in a high scoring one, but give me the Saints to win 33-27. The offense finally breaks out. Defense still plays a little bit sluggish, but I think the Saints do pull it out in the end. Now, let's get into these experts. Da, da, da. All right, let's see. So the first one, Buccaneers 28-20. Buccaneers 24-17. Buccaneers 25-13. Buccaneers 23-17. Buccaneers 21-10. Buccaneers 24-16. Buccaneers 30-20. Buccaneers 26-22. Buccaneers 26-21. Buccaneers 27-20. So out of 10 matchups, the Saints have 0 people picking them for these guys, and the Buccaneers got 10. So basically, what these guys are saying is that the Saints have a 0 out of 10 chance to beat the Buccaneers today. What would you say to those experts?
I would say, I mean, we're in a position where I don't blame them. I mean, I don't know how you could pick the Saints unless you're a Saints fan. Being real. So I'm not gonna give them too much grief right now, but I do like proving people wrong. So I mean, if we able to prove them wrong and the Saints come up with an upset victory today, I'm gonna look for these dudes to eat some crow.
You know what I would tell them? Any given Sunday. Any given Sunday. Like it's not like the Saints are LSU bad, so any given Sunday. But
No,
yeah,
they're
Dad,
not
you got
that
anything
bad.
else?
They're
Yeah, you
not
got
as
anything else?
bad as that team played yesterday. So
Yeah, we lost to the freaking Aggies. But yeah, do you got anything else about anything?
I do want to say I do like the Hurricane Mike history lesson. I think we need to make that a part of the show because you know me, I like some history, some sports history, and I like your history you brought up about the 77 Buccaneers, the longest losing streak. That was good. Good job today, dude.
Appreciate you. Yep. Yeah, man. Just trying to be creative with it. Because like sometimes you gotta know where these teams came from, and whenever I can, I try to look back in history and when was like a memorable time. I think for the Giants, I remember. I don't know if I included it, but I know I was thinking about like because sometimes I just forget to put it in. To be honest with you, but like I know the Giants. I was looking at the time when the Giants or when we beat them 52-49. I was gonna add that, but I think I forgot to. But yeah, but yeah. That's the history lesson. Her history with the hurricane. We should just call that a segment. Anyways, so do you got anything else?
Nope, that's it. Who that?
All right. Yep. Shout out to JT for showing up. Dad, where can they find you?
Mic'd Up Sports YouTube page and on the Hurricane Mike Show every week.
Yep. You can also find me at Hurricane Mike, Kyle Phelps, and Keeping It Real, Who That Sports Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, turn the bell on so you don't miss another upload. And Dad, we're going to leave them as always with a who dat. And don't be a what?
Don't be a fail camp fan. They starting
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins today, man. Do you believe it?
Kirky Cousins, bro. Can't believe it.